I just watched Ben Shapiro's speech live from Stanford via the internet. Now, first of all, this isn't a channel about politics, but this is a channel where I try and give you information that you can implement into your life in a very practical way. And one of the things that I frequently do is, because I don't want to have you get involved with a bad ideology, to get you into a movement that's going to be working against your interests, you got to avoid these bad ideologies. So one of the things I do on this channel frequently, I call out people that are very dishonest, people that are very subversive, that are trying to get you to be part of a movement, and ultimately it's going to lead to your destruction. It's working against your best interests. So I call out these people on this channel frequently. And one of my favorite targets, of course, if you've been watching this channel, is Ben Shapiro. Well, little lion Ben Shapiro got caught lying again today, and I just watched the speech, so this is just kind of a quick reaction to it. I'm not going to cover everything, but there was a few things that stood out. Now, he knows that the Groypers are out looking for him. He knows that they're ready to call him out, so he tried to come prepared. So he was going to do a preemptive strike. So he goes to Stanford University, one of America's most prestigious university, and he does a speech about Nick Fuentes without mentioning Fuentes' name, and he surely won't debate Nick Fuentes, but he gives a whole speech trying to smear Fuentes and his followers as alt-right, which they don't consider themselves that. I don't know if anyone considers themselves alt-right, because for one thing, the meaning of alt-right has become something of a term that means that you're to the mainstream. They want to equate to literal Nazis. So basically, he wants these young conservative guys. He wants to equate them with literal Nazis that are sending Jews to the oven. But there was a few things that stuck out. Basically, he said every argument he was making was a straw man argument. It was all arguments that are not real arguments, or they're radically mischaracterized. And the first thing that stood out was at Charlie Kirk's event, there was a Catholic guy that asked about, basically, why is Conservative Inc. promoting homosexuality and saying that we should accept this, and they're actively working to promote it, when conservative Christians, that goes against their beliefs. For them, it's very counterproductive. And the end of the question was maybe a little bit trolly or a bit provocative. I didn't mind it. But as Charlie Kirk's up there with a gay black man, at the end of the question about how is promoting this as conservatives, this lifestyle, how is that good for us? What is that conserving? And at the end of the question, he tagged on, how does promoting anal sex, how is that good for conservatives, was basically the question. Now, what Ben Shapiro did was he only took the last part of that question about where it uses the term anal sex to sound provocative, and Ben Shapiro took that and he ran with it, and he's telling his audience, very dishonestly, he's telling his audience that what this guy was asking is, his point was, he wants the government to kick people's doors in, see what they're doing in their bedrooms, and outlaw this act, which is not what the question was at all about. And if you've actually seen the whole question, instead of just hearing Shapiro trying to tell you what he said and what he meant, you would understand that he's calling out groups like TPUSA, all the conservative inks that are now actively promoting this. And he's asking a very legit question. Why should we go along with that as actual conservatives and who have a certain religion and certain beliefs that are very sacred to us? Why do you want us to jump on board with promoting that? That's what it was, but instead Shapiro flat out lied and miscategorized it, regardless of how you feel about the issue. I'm just telling you what the real question was. It was about them promoting it. One of Ben Shapiro's writers for a Daily Wire, Michael Knowles, who's supposed to be a devout Catholic, supposedly, he took a picture with a drag queen. And people are not actually upset about that. Look, I take pictures with anyone and everyone that would want one. And I don't ask people their beliefs, their lifestyle. It's just a picture. It's not that big of a deal. If someone says they like you and they want to have a picture with you, that's cool. But the issue is, it's not that they're just posing for pictures with certain people. They're actually tweeting them out themselves, these people, and they're promoting it. Charlie Kirk had that talk with that black guy where it's actively, where part of the point is we should be embracing this. So they're actively working to promote it, and that's what the question was about. Shapiro knows that, but instead he got up there in front of his audience and he flat out lied, and he was saying that these alt-right types, which is really the Groypers and anyone that's an actual conservative, they're looking to make that illegal. So he was totally lying about that. And another thing that stood out to me a little bit later on, when he was addressing how people say that I don't accept Jesus Christ as Savior. And he goes, well, obviously, I even have a hat to show that. I'm Jewish. Of course I don't. And because for me, that's something I've always wondered about. Why are all these devout Christians, why do they want a guy that rejects Christ to be their leader in this movement, their political movement? So that was strangely odd. So he's going to attempt, like I said, this whole thing was a preemptive strike against questions. He doesn't want the questions to come from someone else, so he's going to answer and try to misrepresent the questions. But he said, look, I love Christianity. I love that America's a Christian country. I think American style Christianity is one of the greatest things to ever happen to civilization. American style Christianity. Well, what the heck is American style Christianity? Does that mean he loves Christians like E. Michael Jones? Of course not. But I think I do know what Ben Shapiro means, because I'm someone that's traveled around the world a lot, and I've met with people of different religions, different cultures, all different nationalities, all different belief systems, and I've met a lot of Christians on all my travels. So I think I know what he means about American-style Christianity, because one thing I've noticed about Christians when you go to other countries is there's something that they don't really have so much usually in their countries versus American Christians. This is one of the things that has always struck me as odd about American Christians. American Christianity in particular, Southern-style American Christianity, evangelical Christianity, whatever you want to call it, they have these beliefs and they promote Israel first, that Jews are a sacred people, like I guess you could say a master race. They're God's chosen people. They're superior to us, which is very strange. And they believe that we should fight wars for Israel. We should give Israel money, like billions in tax dollars. These American-style Christians that I'm referring to, these are people that would send their firstborn child to go fight and die for a foreign country that rejects their God and would never do anything for them in return, because somehow they believe that. Now, that's not in all styles, obviously, of American Christianity, especially with Catholics. That's not commonly believed. Lutherans, I don't think, believe that. But that's really what he means by American style. He means Zionism. He means Christians that believe in Zionism and will fight and die and give all their money and aid to Israel, that believe that that's a sacred thing and there's a sacred people, versus other types of Christians, like, in Europe, I don't think they have these beliefs. Throughout Asia, this isn't really a thing. But because I'm not going to get into some of that religion part, but the next point I want to make is he talked about how he addressed people say you're a chicken hawk and you're always looking for wars, for America to fight wars for Israel, which is true and a very valid question. But he said Israel can take care of itself. Does anyone really believe that Ben Shapiro believes that Israel can take care of itself, or he wants Israel to take care of itself? Obviously, if you're familiar with Ben Shapiro at all, he does not believe that Israel should be fighting its wars alone and supporting itself. It's Ben, if you say Israel can take care of itself, do you actually believe that? If you do, well, then you'd be okay with America just completely leaving the area. You'd be okay with America cutting off all foreign aid to Israel, wouldn't you? Well, we know he's not okay with that. And another question that was asked that I thought was, not asked, he asked himself. He's not going to let the Groypers or anyone that's an actual nationalist ask questions. He's going to make sure the people that are actually asking the questions are screened. So he's going to ask the questions that the Groypers have been asking other people. And he mentioned the USS Liberty. And he said, look, his answer was basically, look, the government says this is what happened, and we should just believe the official story of the government over what anyone else says, because this happened a really long time ago. We should just forget about it, and the official government story is this. Well, what about the people that were on that ship? Will you say this to their face, Ben Shapiro? Are you going to just say that it's a crazy conspiracy theory to guys that are actually there and have something else to say? Of course he won't. And another thing that got me throughout this whole speech was he keeps referring to, like I said, it's all a smear thing. He's telling his audience what to believe about these other people. And one of the things he kept trying to characterize actual conservative people is as losers that live in their basement and masturbate to pictures of frogs. I don't know if he's literally trying to tell them that part about the frogs or if that's his boomer-style joke, but that was what he was repeating, and he kept repeating what losers these guys are that live in their mom's basement, which is just sickening elitism to me. Now, I'm here broadcasting from a very simple laptop webcam. I have like a $20 microphone plugged in here. I'm coming to you from my $300 apartment, and I'm reaching you guys with a message, trying to give you guys information with the truth that I'm trying to help you guys out, hopefully give you things that you can actually use in your life, instead of stand up there and talk about how I'm better than all these other guys because I make more money. It's kind of like when that video surfaced of him where he was talking about people that have to work 2 jobs to support themselves, and he said very smugly, he said, well, if the first job isn't paying you enough, you shouldn't have taken that job. That's a you problem. And just all his arrogance, all his bad attitude came out, really showing what kind of person he is, how much disdain he has for the working class of America. And then he addressed the question of people say, well, I'm funded. Well, yeah, it's America. We make money. We live in a capital. We should all be doing that. But a question is, who's funding him and what's their agenda? Just like the Groypers recently attacked a politician from Texas. And one of the questions I really would have liked them to ask is, because he's spouting out his propaganda, of course he supports a foreign country more than he supports America, which is very clear. But one of the things I would have liked people to ask, who are your donors? And a lot of this is public information. If you actually look this up, you look up and you see what their mission statements are for their super PACs, it gets to be quite scary, and it's scary to think about how easy it is to buy off politicians or just plant politicians. Everyone, how they're funded, and they're just paid to be mouthpieces. Now, Ben Shapiro is no different. Ben Shapiro is a guy that's funded by billionaires, and he's bragging about how he has more money than these young conservative guys. Ben Shapiro has more money than me. Like I said, I'm here in it's a very nice $300 apartment, but I'm here from a 1-bedroom, small 3-bedroom apartment. I'm coming to you off just a cheap laptop trying to reach you, but he's better than me because he has billionaire backers to spout their message, to spout their propaganda, to go out there and lie. And this whole speech that he made was just amazing to me because it's like he watched Hillary Clinton's speech on the alt-right a few years ago, and somehow he decided he's going to come out and make his own cringy speech on the alt-right. And it's hilarious that he's attacking Fuentes, obviously is his target, but notice he won't debate Nick Fuentes. So I just wanted to give this quick reaction right after watching his speech live, and don't fall for this. Like I said, what he's ultimately doing, he has billionaire funders that this is not a public service they're doing. He's getting you to go along with their policies that benefit them, that don't benefit you, but benefit them. And the reason Ben Shapiro in particular is so dangerous is because a lot of the stuff he says is good stuff. It is mixed with the truth. He says a lot of things that are very truthful, very good things. So I can see how people in the beginning would think he's a good guy and would want to stick up for him if they don't research it further. But that's why we do videos with this. So like I said, my friends, go out, focus on making your own life better. Don't be a follower of guys like this. Don't get into their crazy ideologies, this Ben Shapiro guy. So I hope when you watch my videos, with every video on this channel that you watch, I hope that you're not the same afterwards, that you leave better off than before you started. So you can watch some of my other videos, but very importantly, get out there in the real world and have fun interacting with people, and be positive, be happy, because the truth is, a lot of things in this life we can't control. I can't control that Ben Shapiro has billionaire funders, which is hilarious because he's really not that popular if you look at his statistics, considering how much money's put into him to make him popular. But I can't control that he gets funded by billionaires, not me. I don't have that kind of backing. But you know what we all can control? We can all control our attitude. So when you go out there into the real world or even online, have a good, cheerful attitude, my friends. Until next time.